Lately, I've been engrossed in taking classes for my students. What is the meaning of the word engross? Engross is a verb which means absorb all the attention to. Good evening, everyone. My name is Vaishnavi, and welcome to today's session of SSC CGL Tier 1 All India Mock Interview questions. Okay, All India Mock Test questions. And we are going to start with the questions. So what are we waiting for? Let's get started. Okay, so here we have the first question. The first question is, read the passage carefully and choose the best answer to the each question out of the 4 alternatives. So you have been given 4 alternatives, probably later part of this is the passage that is given to you. So we'll read the passage once. I want you guys also to skim through it once, and then probably we'll discuss the questions based on the passage. So quickly just run through the passage. I will help you out with that. And we will see the words that are a little difficult to know the meaning of. I will also be discussing the words over there. Okay. So the common people have a way of laughing at their own misfortunes. What is the meaning of let's underline the first word, misfortunes. What is the meaning of misfortune? It simply means bad luck. Okay, and it is a noun. It is nothing but a noun. All right. Let's move ahead. They can also laugh at their oppressors. And what is the meaning of the word oppressors? Okay, let's just underline it and keep it for now, okay? Satire, okay, satire, again something that is not very common, became a habit with them while they groaned under the oppression of kings, priests, and plutocrats. What is the meaning of plutocrats? And what is the meaning of groaned? In the contemporary India, what is the meaning of contemporary India? The politicians and the bureaucrats are the ones they take their revenge upon, okay? The meaning of the word revenge. There is much humor in Indian proverbs. Even the gods are not spared. What is the meaning of spared? There is a special form of worship called nindastuti, praise by dispraise. Real humor in India, as elsewhere, is contained within the different languages, and it is difficult for Indians of one region to understand the humor of another. Okay? Next paragraph. India is also by tradition a class-ridden, what is the meaning of class-ridden, and hierarchical society. Excessive reverence is shown to elders and to those in authority, though this may be changing. Sons and daughters don't usually joke with their parents, and vice versa. A boss can't afford to be seen in a mood of levity with his employees. The landlord wouldn't dream of sharing a joke with his peasant laborers. The path to wit and humor is strewn with pitfalls. With Indian intellectuals, solemnity is a motto. Many of them wouldn't be seen dead with a joke. And the higher they go in the cerebral scale, what is the meaning of cerebral scale? The drier they become. Okay, so we read the entire passage, and let's try to understand first what is the passage talking about. So the passage is clearly talking about humor, okay, and how it has completely deprivated or completely gone or eradicated from the Indian society, okay. So it gave many examples how people have made a joke out of, or how people have take out their frustration on bureaucrats and politicians, and how people do not joke. There are language barriers, and how people do not joke when it comes to different kinds of relationship, okay. So that is the essence of the passage. Let's look at the words that we have that we are not able to get it, okay. First word is misfortune. As I said, it is bad luck. Next word is oppressor. Oppressor is the one who oppresses, okay. So you can call him a tyrant or an oppressor. Someone who oppresses is an oppressor. another word or synonym for oppressor is a tyrant. Alright? And what is the meaning of oppressor? Okay, we'll see that in later part of the passage. Satire. Now, what is the meaning of satire? Satire is a common form of humor. It is used to exaggerate or to ridicule or to criticize people's stupidity or vices. Okay, and this is particularly in the context of contemporary politics. Okay, so the status of the politicians or the politics that is now prevailing in India or in anywhere in the part of the world, they use satire as a form of comedy to talk about it. Okay, it is an exaggerated form or an ironical form or even a parody of what is happening. Okay, what is going on, to criticize it. Okay, now that is the meaning of satire. Has become a habit with them while they groaned under the oppression of kings. Okay, while they groaned under the oppression of king. What is groan? Groan is a word which means nothing but moan with discomfort or with pain. So it is an inarticulated sound that is made. Why? Because someone is in pain. Okay, so that is called groan. Okay, next is plutocrats. Now, like I have discussed in my earlier sessions on when we were discussing crisy, the root word crisy, which is a suffix, I clearly said that crisy means rule. And what is plutocracy? Pluto is the god of the rich, the Greek god for wealth. Okay, so plutocracy is nothing but a rule by the rich. Okay, so plutocrats are the rich ruling people. Alright, so that is plutocrats. In the contemporary India. Now, what is the meaning of the word contemporary? We will see that in later part of the passage. Okay, by the way, contemporary just means something that is the situation of or the stage that we are in right now. Okay, so the modern stage or this period that we are in right now, okay, is contemporary. So we are talking about the new India that is there. Okay, so the modern India we are referring to. All right. Contemporary India, the politicians and the bureaucrats are the ones they take their revenge upon. Revenge is nothing but probably, okay, the meaning of revenge is to harm someone because someone has harmed someone. Why? Because someone has harmed you, so it is giving back. It is like an eye for an eye. Okay. There is much humor. Okay, and what is the meaning of spared? Spared means left alone. Okay, so even the gods are not spared. It means refrain from distressing, or it can be killing, or it can be injuring. Okay, so if that means even gods are not left alone, even gods are not refrained from distressing. Okay, why is it said so? Because we have a special form of worship which is called Ninda Stuti. Alright, what is the meaning of class ridden? Ridden, if we add with any word, we mean, okay, someone just asked me what is the meaning of the word spare? Does it mean an extra? Yes, that is the second meaning of spare. When we ask, do you have a spare pen? That means, do you have an extra pen? That is one meaning. The other meaning is when something is not left alone. When I say the statement, even the gods are not spared, or when the teacher was scolding everyone, even the monitor was not spared. That means even he was not left alone. He was also distressed or insulted. Alright? So that is the meaning. Okay, and let's get back to the word ridden. Ridden means full of a particular thing. Okay, so if we say it can be a particular thing, and this thing has to be unpleasant thing. Okay, so if someone is disease ridden, that means full of awful diseases. Okay, if a place is, if someone is guilt ridden, that means full of guilt. Okay, so it is usually in the negative form. Okay, so class ridden is full of class. Okay, and hierarchical society, that means we have a society where different people have different statures. Excessive reverence, that means deep respect. For someone or something is shown to the elders and to those in authority. Okay, so a lot of respect is shown to people who are elders as well as to the people who have authority. Okay, next is levity. What is the meaning of levity? It means the treatment of a serious matter as a joke. Okay, with humor. Treatment of a serious matter with humor. And okay, that is the meaning of the word levity. Got it? Let's look at the last few words that you might have a problem in. Solemnity. What is the meaning of the word solemnity? Solemnity means it means the state or quality of being serious and dignified. Okay, so it is a quality. Solemnity is a quality, and the quality is the state of being completely dignified and serious. Okay, that is the meaning of solemnity. And finally we have cerebral scale. That means the intellectual ability. Okay, so when we talk about men and women being equal cerebrally or on a cerebral scale, that means we have the same intellectual abilities. Alright, when we talk about feminism, we say that we are not fighting, or women are not fighting for the physical strength, or they are not saying that we are higher than men. They say that cerebrally, or the cerebral scale of women is equal to the cerebral scale of men. Okay. Alright. Okay, ridden is dominated by levity. Candid, okay, when we refer to ridden is can be dominated by, yes, or it can also be the thing that I said, that means full of a particular, basically it means the same thing. Like Sujata is saying dominated by. Okay, so class ridden is dominated by class, or even a society that is full of different classes. Okay, disease ridden, again it can be dominated by disease, or it can also be something that is full of, or a place that is full of diseases. Okay, so either way it is fine. Levity is not candid. Candid means Sujata, candid means honest. Okay, or and it has nothing to do with levity. All right. Okay, let's get back and focus on the topic at hand. Okay, and not at anything apart from the topic at hand. All right, that is cerebral scale. Drier they become. Now, this is the meaning of the entire passage. Now that we know the meaning of the entire passage, we know the words that are important, we know the meaning of the entire passage. What is this entire passage talking about? Okay, so you have to quickly skim through it and make sure that you know the meaning of all the words and you're clear with the central idea of the passage. Now let's move on to the question section. Okay. So the questions are as follow. Who does not oppress the commoners? Okay, so we are not talking about who oppresses the commoners, we are talking about who does not oppress the commoners. Plutocrats do oppress the commoners. We saw that before. Bureaucrats also. What are bureaucrats, by the way? Bureaucrats are nothing but government officials, okay? Alright, and politicians are also, all these three people are already mentioned that they do oppress the commoners, the kings, priests and plutocrats right over here, okay? And the only option that is not, the only person that is not mentioned are the authors. The only people that are not mentioned is the authors, so they do not oppress the commoners. So the answer will be option number 1 and not 2, 3, 4. Alright, so first one, yes, I know, I can see all of you are getting it right. Okay, now okay, what is the meaning of bedridden? If anyone can tell me what is the meaning of bedridden, it would be great. Okay, someone has posted that question, what is the meaning of bedridden? So if, let's see, whoever can answer, and let's see who can answer. Okay, now the next question, let's move on to the next question. Till then, who do the commoners laugh at? Now, who? We are talking about a person. Yes, they laugh at their misfortunes, because it is clearly mentioned that the common people have a way of laughing at their own misfortunes, okay? So their own misfortunes they do laugh at. Also, they laugh at misfortunes of, okay, so misfortunes is, is not a person, okay? So it will not be misfortunes. Do they laugh at intellectuals or writers? No, they do not laugh at intellectuals or writers. They laugh at oppressors, okay? People who oppress them in a very sarcastic, or in a they have a laughing at it in the satire of it, okay? Now let's move on to the next question. Till then, I asked you a question. Let's see if anyone has answered it. Bedridden means sick. Yes, someone who cannot get up from the bed. So bed has dominated the person and it is just glued to the person. That means bedridden, okay? So if someone who is unable to get up from the bed, not because he's lazy, but because he is unwell, okay? Someone who is unwell and unfit to move around, too much of weakness, so that is bedridden, okay? Someone who cannot get up from the bed. That is the meaning of bedridden. Alright, let's look at the next question. Who laughs at their own misfortunes? So yes, who laughs at their own misfortunes? At their own, the common people have a way of laughing. So most of the question, the first three question comes under the first line itself. So here it will be option number 2. Alright. Okay, so Lakshmi has answered, Akash has answered. Good job, guys. Very well done. Yes, commoners. Sujata, right answer. It is Anne. Kamal as well. Commoners. Yes, that is the right answer. Okay. Now let's look at the next question. Who becomes drier in the matter of wit? Okay, so this goes on to the last line that we discussed, drier they become. And who are we talking about? Many of them wouldn't be seen dead with a joke. And the higher they go in the cerebral scale, that means the more intellectuals, we are talking about intellectuals, the more intelligent a person becomes, the lesser the wit of that person becomes. Okay, so greater intellectuals, lesser intellectuals, commoners and employees. So we are talking about people who become more intelligent. So it will be, the answer will be option number 1, the greater intellectuals. Okay. not the lesser intellectuals, Sujata, it will be the greater intellectuals. We are talking about the higher we go in the scale, the lesser their intelligence become, okay? The lesser their wit becomes. That means the capacity to joke, they become more and more serious and stern, okay? So the answer will not be lesser intellectuals, it will be greater intellectuals, okay? Now let's look at the last question that we have. Cerebral scale means, like I discussed already, what is the word cerebral, the phrase cerebral scale means? A device to measure height. No, we are not talking about height. Cerebral has to do with the brain, okay? A device to measure intelligence. It is not a device, okay? So we are not talking about a device. Intellectual ability is what we are talking about. Head massager, obviously not. It will definitely not be a head massager. So the right answer will be option 3. That is intellectual ability. Yes, I think all of you are getting it right. Yeah. Alright, so I think it is clear till here. Let's just quickly move on to the next question. Now, we have a different type of question, so I hope the passage is clear to all of you. It was a very simple passage. It just talks about how humor at work or humor with different age groups has declined, or people do not, the more intelligent people becomes, or the more educated people become, the more serious and stern they become, okay? So that is something very, a very good message. It is important that we all laugh and smile sometimes, okay? So make sure that you do the same, okay, and not become very serious or stern, right? Okay, let's get back. The workers looked, okay, so what you're supposed to do over here, you're supposed to choose the word to improve the bold part, okay? So there are words, you have been given a sentence, there are words in bold. You are supposed to see if there is improvement required or no improvement required. If there is improvement required, which one would be the most suitable answer for the word in bold or the words in bold, okay? Yes, let's look at the word. The workers looked run down, okay? They looked run down. What is the meaning of the word run down? As all of you have already started explaining, yes, it means exhausted. Someone who is exhausted because of excessive work, or getting tired because of doing a lot of work or plenty of work. So the right answer will be yes, it will be option number 3, exhausted. Alright, let's go on to the next question. This one was pretty simple. Okay, someone said 4, no improvement required. Okay. Next one. The next question that we have is, the relatives comforted the old man whose wife had died, okay? So what is the meaning of the word comforted, okay? What is the meaning of the word comforted? Let's look at the options. Okay, so is it, you know what is the meaning of comforting someone? It is consoling someone, right? So the options are sympathize with, the second is pitied, and third is consoled or no improvements, okay? So definitely there is improvement, or you are supposed to suggest another word, so it will not be option 4. Sympathized with. Now, sympathize is to do, sympathy is to do with pity, okay? And pity is also to do with pity, okay? Of course. So are we talking about taking being pitiful about a situation. No, we are not talking about being pitiful of a situation. We are talking about comforting someone, providing a lot of warmth to a situation, okay? So we are not taking pity on the man, we are actually going and consoling the man, okay? So what is the meaning of consoling? It means comforting someone, okay? So the right answer will not be option 1, sympathize. Sympathy is, like I said, it is taking pity on a certain situation and probably then feeling bad for the person, okay? But we are not talking about that, are we? We are talking about consoling. So the right answer will be consoled. All right? Okay. If it is clear till here, let's move on to the next question. Okay. Just for your sake, this is the meaning of sympathize with. Pitied, again, feel sorrow. Feel sorrow for what? Feel sorrow for the misfortunes of someone, okay? And consoled is to comfort. Comfort when? At the time of grief. Okay? So now that we know the meaning of the words, it is very clear that we are not feeling pity for, or we are not feeling sorrow for someone's misfortune. We are actually talking about comforting the old man because his poor wife died, okay? So that's why it will be consoled. Go to the next question, please. All right, I'm going. Okay, let's go on to the next question. They obtained the top secret information by wrong means. Okay, now the word wrong means a lot of things, but what are we talking about wrong over here? Are we talking about something being clever? Of course not, because wrong itself is a negative word. It cannot have words like clever as the meaning, okay? Fraudulent. What is the meaning of fraudulent? It is, let's look at the meaning. Obtained or done by or involving deception. Okay, and who does this? These are fraudulent activities are mostly done by criminals. So because of his fraudulent records of crime, he has been in and out of jail. Okay, that means because of his fabrication that he has, or deceit that he has put forward, he has been in and out of jail. So it is wrong is not bad, and it is not no improvement required. The right answer is option 2, that is fraudulent. All right, let's go on to the next question. Okay, the next question is, his speech was broadcasted over the radio last Thursday. Okay, so his speech was broadcasted over the radio last Thursday. So we are talking about last Thursday, right? So we are talking about something in past. Okay. However, when we talk about broadcast, the present, the past, and the past participle form of broadcast is broadcast itself. Okay, there is nothing called as broadcasted. However, a lot of American English has transformed a little, and they have started using the word broadcasted, but it is not the right usage. So his speech is completely fine. The tense is completely fine. There should not be an ed over here. So yes, the answer is option 1, was broadcast over the radio last Thursday. Okay. Divya, you are right. It can be fraud means, or fraudulent is to do with fraud. Okay, so or wrong means. absolutely right. Broadcast, broadcast, broadcast. Okay, broadcast. Okay, let's go on to the next question. Like I said, the words that are given that you have to improve, it is not wrong, but it is a better usage of the word instead of whatever is given. That is what is asked. Wrong means is not wrong, but the better word for it would be fraudulent. Okay, so that's why improvement is required. It's a very vague way of saying wrong means. Okay, so we will rather use fraudulent. All right. Let's go on to the next question. You are supposed to choose the alternative which best expresses the meaning of the idiom or phrase. So now we have come to the usage of idioms and phrases, which are very, very important in SSC papers. Okay, something that you'll often see is idioms or phrases that are always asked. Okay, so you better make sure that you remember at least 100 of idioms and probably 100 phrases. Okay, now the most common ones, they do not ask something which is completely obsolete. You understand the meaning of the word obsolete, right? Something that is not used anymore. So they will ask something that is often used. Okay, so let's get back to the questions. To die in harness, what is the meaning of to die in harness? It means to die while actively engaged in work or duty. Okay, so that is the meaning of to die in harness. Okay, you understand what is the meaning of harness, right? It is a strap, or it is not just a strap, it can be straps as well, which is used to tie horses. Okay, so to die in harness is to die while on duty, on the lines of duty, and usually this happens with the army. All right. Premeditated murder. Is it premeditated murder? What is the meaning of premeditated? By the way, very nice word. It means something that has been very thoroughly thought out, okay, or planned beforehand. Okay, just to let you know, this is just an FYI, okay. Second option is dying young in an accident. No, we are not talking about dying young. So 1 and 2 is not the answer. To die while in service, yes. So the right answer will be option 3. To die while in service. To be taken by surprise, no, we are not talking about someone being abducted. Okay, so it will be option number 3 is the right answer. Yes, conspired murders are usually premeditated. That means they are always pre-planned, like the murder of Julius Caesar in Shakespeare's play. All right, and let's go on to the next. Tamil Nadu CM died in harness. Okay, Alok, nice sentence. The former Tamil Nadu CM died in harness. Okay, nice usage. Let's move on to the next question. To feather one's nest. What is the meaning of the idiom to feather one's nest? It means to earn profit in a dishonest way. Okay, there is not much to discuss in these idioms. They have just one meaning. There is not 5-6 meanings, unlike synonyms and antonyms. So you just have to remember the meaning of the word itself. Okay, so cold-blooded murder. Okay, guys, we have moved on to the next question. Let's not talk about murders. To feather one's nest is to make profit or to reap profit in a dishonest way. So the right answer is option 3. Remember this. Can you make sentences on to feather one's nest? Okay, if you guys can start making sentences as many as possible, that would be great. Okay, so I will keep reading the sentences. If there is any corrections required, I'll let you know. Okay, so it is very important that you know how to use the idiom as well. Till you guys do that, let's move on to the next question. Okay. To flog a dead horse. What is the meaning of to flog a dead horse? It means to attempt to do the impossible. Okay. Something that cannot be done. Okay. Or it can also mean to waste someone's time. Okay. To spoil time. Okay, so if you can make a sentence with this, idioms aren't part of, idioms aren't part of cat. Let's stick to SSC and banking papers itself. Okay, let's get back to flogging a dead horse. Okay, so what is the meaning of flogging a dead horse? That means doing something which is an utter waste of time and is something that is impossible. Okay, to attempt the impossible is to flog a dead horse. Okay, now should I give more explanation on this, or I am just flogging a dead horse? That means I'm trying to do the impossible of making you guys understand. Should I, is it that, or you guys understood? So that is one usage of to flog a dead horse. Alright, let's move on to the next question. No confidence motion was like flagging a dead horse. No, Alok, it should be flogging, not flagging. Okay? Yes, the answer is 2. To attempt to do the impossible, not 3. Rajesh. Okay. Let's go on to the next question if you guys are able to understand. Okay, then 2 or 3. Okay, waste one's effort is... Okay, wasting one's effort is to... we are not talking about wasting effort. We are talking about wasting time in doing something which is impossible to do. Alright? So it will definitely be 2 and not 3. We are not talking about wasting efforts. We are talking about wasting time in doing the impossible. Okay, so it is the attempt of doing the impossible which is actually a waste of time because it is impossible. So that is flogging a dead horse. Can we move on to the next question now? Okay. Hacked. 1. How did we get to 1? I do not understand that. To whip a dead horse? No, we are not talking about whipping a dead horse. We are talking about to attempt to do the impossible. It is idioms are, that's why they are not literal. They go by literary meaning. That means what is written is not, the words do not mean the same as, so it has figurative meaning. Okay, so if I say let's go and paint the town red, does not mean I'm going to carry a bucket of paint and going to paint the whole town red. I'm actually, that means let's go and have a good time is the meaning of this idiom. So they are not literal, remember that. Okay, to strain every nerve, what is the meaning of this? To strain every nerve means making a lot of effort and making a huge amount of effort. So the right answer is option number 1. Okay. to make utmost effort. Okay, Hack has already answered the next question very fast. Okay, so yes, to strain every nerve means to make utmost effort. It is not to feel weak and tired. It is not to be a diligent worker. By the way, what is the meaning of the word diligent? If you guys can tell me, that would be great. Let's see, you usually get certificate of diligence when you are in school. So how many of you have got it? So you tell me what is the meaning of diligence. Okay, very nice word. Let's go on to the next question. Why not 3? To be methodical in work. Okay, why not 3? Because to strain every nerve means putting so much of effort that you get completely exhausted. Okay, that means putting all the efforts that you have. Okay, so it cannot be something that is systematic or methodical. That's why not 3. Yes, diligent means hardworking person. Very nice. So instead of using, when you are preparing your resumes, instead of using I am a hard worker, you can use I am a diligent person. Okay. Okay, for clearing SSC, I will strain my every nerve. Okay, I will strain. You don't have to use my. You can just Alok. You can just use I will strain every nerve. Okay. All right. Let's go on to the next question. Of all the models, Jessica is the more good-looking one. Now, what do we have here? We have Jessica, the more good-looking one. Okay. Now, when we are talking about out of all, what does it mean? Of all or out of all? Of all means we are taking everyone into consideration. Of all, one person standing out. Okay, so we are talking about superlative degree here. And not the comparative degree. Okay, so when we are talking about of all or out of all, we are trying to say that of all the person in the world, this is the most important. So it should be, what did I say? Most. Okay, so the more good looking is, more is comparative. The actual word should be most good looking one. All right, so the yes, it should be superlative degree. If I can give you another example, of all the things that I possess, I love my novels the most. Okay, yes, that is true. I love my novels the most. Okay, so that means the books that I possess, I love them the most. So we usually use, yes, superlative degree when we are talking about of all, when you are talking about everything included. Okay, now let's move on to the next question, if this is clear. If you had told me, I would have helped you solve the problem. By the way, I'm so sorry, these are error spotting questions where you have been given a sentence divided into different parts, and one of the part of the sentence has an error. So you have to identify which part has an error. Alright, so we are doing the second question of that one. Alright, if you had told me, I would have helped you solve the problem. Okay, now we are talking about the conditional tense. Okay, and in the morning session that we had today, doubt clarification session, I mentioned all the types of uses of and. I'm so sorry, if. So there was type 0, type 1, type 2, type 3 and the mixed type. Now, when we go to the mixed type, this is the type 3 sort of sentence. I'm so sorry. Okay, this is type 3 sort of sentence. And type 3, when we talk about type 3, I'm not going to discuss all the types, but I'm just going to give you a small hint of how type 3 structure works. We usually have if plus past perfect, and the main clause that we use can be perfect, conditional, that is the word would over here, or perfect continuous conditional. So we can use either of this. Now, so one sentence has been divided into three parts. One is if, and then the first part is the we use past perfect, and the next part we use perfect conditional or perfect continuous conditional. So let's look at the sentence again. This is a little confusing, it is a little tricky, because still here everything is fine. If you had told me, I would have helped you. Okay, so this is an imaginary situation we are talking about, and that's when we use unreal situation. So if you had told me, that is past perfect. If you had told me, past perfect, I would have helped you solve the problem. Okay, solve is the verb here, and the verb should be in ing form. So here it should be in solving the problem, not solve the problem. And that's how we frame this type of sentence. Okay, so the right answer should be, if you had told me, I would have helped you in solving the problem. Okay, so the error is obviously in part C. Why is nobody answering the questions? Oh, waste of energy, getting selected in a government job, flogging a dead horse day by day. Oh, I'm sorry guys, I thought that you guys haven't been answering, and you guys have answered a lot of questions. Yes. Okay, those who missed the morning session, I'm not gonna take up the entire session once again. So if you can go to the archive, of the morning sessions that you have missed, or if you are not a TalentSprint premium user, then you should probably get the package done. Okay, helped you solve seemed right. Okay, it seems right, but it is not the right answer. Okay, if we have a different sort of usage of if. Okay, so we have different type of usage, in which one is zero use, one is type 1 use, next is type 2 use, type 3 use, and mixed use. We will discuss these usage, we have already discussed these usage in the morning session that we had of doubt clarification. So just remember that the usage that we have over here, type 3, is the usage that we are using over here. If plus past perfect plus perfect conditional or perfect continuous conditional. So here the verb should be in continuous form. That's why it will be in solving the problem and not solve the problem. It seems right, but it is not. Let's go on to the next question. Alright, so the next question is, when I went there, Charles is playing a chess or a game of chess, and this one is pretty simple. I'm sure all of you can get this. Okay. When I went there, Charles is playing. When I went there itself, it is talking about a past time went, simple past. So why are we using the principal clause is in simple past, so why are we using is playing? So this should also be in the past form. Okay, so Charles was playing, past continuous, a game of chess. Alright, I think this was pretty simple. I do not have to explain or elaborate this much. Yes, 2, 2, 2. All of you are right. Very nice. 2 is the right answer, which is option B. Yes. Let's go on to the next question. The Arabian Nights are indeed an interesting book. Okay, we are talking about, how many books are we talking about here? The Arabian Nights are indeed an interesting book. An interesting book. So we are definitely referring to one book and not many books. So Arabian Nights are indeed. Why will we use are indeed? Why are we using plural form? We use is indeed an interesting book. Alright, so this one was also pretty simple. You can clearly spot the error if you know the usage of plural, singular and plural, okay, form of verb. Which verb is used when we are talking about a singular subject and which verb is used when we are talking about a plural subject. Alright, so the option is option 2, that is B is the right answer. Yes, very nice. You all are getting it. All of you are getting it. Very nice. Okay. So let's move on to the next question quickly. Now the next question that we have here is dash, she is clever, she often makes mistakes. Okay, so we are talking about a condition that apart from that everything else is fine is what we are talking about. Okay, we are talking about in spite of her being clever. That means even though that is the scenario, she still commits blunders or mistakes. Okay, so let's look at the option. We have despite, since, although, yet. Okay, and we usually, when we have a pronoun over here, pronoun as the next statement, we use although as the starting of the initial of the statement. Okay, so it will be although she is clever, she often makes mistake. The other way we can say despite the fact that she is clever. Okay, that she is clever. Okay, so that is another way of saying it. For now it will be although. Okay, although or even though is not the option, so we have only one option, that is although. All right, let's move on to the next question. Yes, it will be although. Okay, do you prefer dash or traditional art form? Seems contemporary has been popping up a lot. So remember the meaning of the word contemporary. Do you prefer dash or traditional art form? So do you prefer traditional as in something that has been a custom that has been carried out from generation to generation is a tradition. Okay, so we are talking about something that has been repetitively been going on. Okay, so do you prefer that cultural art form, or do you prefer the modern? Okay, so we are talking about the current state. So contemporary is the word for the meaning of the word contemporary. This is the second mention of the word contemporary. Living or occurring at the same time. Alright, living or occurring at the same time. So at the same. And what is archaic? Archaic means something that is very old. Okay, the hat that she wore was archaic. That means something that was very old fashioned. And Elora, why are you confused? Am I not being clear? Archaic is something that is very very old. Okay, and we are talking about either you prefer the traditional form, that is the old and the cultural form, or do you prefer the modern form? So contemporary is the word, living or occurring at the same time. So the answer will be, okay, do you prefer simultaneous or traditional art form? Simultaneous is something that it goes parallelly. Okay, so that's why it will not be. And we are talking about art forms. Art forms are not to do with simultaneous. Okay, we either talk about contemporary art forms or the modern art forms, or we talk about traditional art forms or cultural art forms and things like that. Okay, we do not use the word simultaneous for that. That's why not hack. That's why not simultaneous. All right. Archaic, the other word for archaic is obsolete. I mentioned the word before. Obsolete means something that is out of date, okay? And what is the opposite of archaic? It is state of the art, okay? State of the art, which means something that is very modern and or contemporary. Let's go on to the next question. The Paralympics is a competition for the dash. Okay, Paralympics is the competition for the dash. Okay, so what is Paralympics? It is, if you do not know, just to be clear, it is a series of international, like we have Olympics, contests for athletes. And what type of athletes? Why is it so special that we are talking about it? Athletes with disabilities or with special abilities. Okay, so it can either be disabilities or special. It is Paralympics, isn't it? Okay, no, I think Paralympics, I'm not so sure. Yes, okay, Paralympics, Rio Paralympics, yes, okay. It is pronounced as Paralympics, I assume, and it is written as Paralympics. Okay. Now, what is Paralympics? When we are talking about Paralympics, which means it is an international competition for athletes of having special abilities. Okay. So, or disabilities, which has been modernized and said into special abilities. Let's look at the options. Disadvantaged, discouraged, disabled, despised. What is the meaning of the word despised, by the way? Feel contempt, and it is not a very good feeling, is it? Feel contempt or deep repugnance. We have discussed this word, very important word for someone is despise. Okay, so I despise people who are racist. Okay, so that is the use of the word despise. Disadvantage is someone who does not have an advantage over someone. Discouraged is someone who is not encouraged. Okay, and finally the third one is disabled. This is the right option, so the right option will be disabled, option 3. All right, let's go on to the next question. The farmers dash their farms if they had known that a thunderstorm was approaching. Okay, the farmers, we are talking about, again we are talking about a hypothetical situation, something that is unreal, something that is imagined. If this would have happened, this would have, if that had happened, this would have happened. Okay, so the farmers dashed their farms if they had known. Okay, so if they had known that there's going to be a thunderstorm approaching, they will leave. We are not talking about something that will happen in the future. We are talking about something that is imaginary or something that was that could have happened. Okay, so the right answer would be would have left. Okay, so the farmers would have left their farms if they had known that a thunderstorm was approaching. Okay, would leave, will leave, and will have left all are talking about a future case, which is not the scenario. It will be would have left. Okay, so perfect conditional. Again, perfect conditional is the one that we will be using. Yes, 4 is the right answer. Would have left. All of you are right. Very nice. Very nice. Okay, let's go on to the next question. 4. Okay, now we have what do we have here? You have to choose the one which best expresses the meaning of the given word. Okay, so we have been given a word and there are 4 options that we have got, and you are supposed to, what are you supposed to do? You are supposed to tell which one would be the synonym of the word. Okay, so the first one that we have is querulous. Okay, what is the meaning of the word querulous? The options that we have is critical, curious, complaining and ambiguous. Okay, so let's look at the word itself. Okay, let's look at the options first. Let's go from let's approach it backwards. Okay, so fourth one is ambiguous. The word ambiguous has 2 meanings. It is an adjective, and the one meaning is open to more than one interpretation. Okay, basically not having one obvious meaning. Okay, that is one meaning, and the second meaning of ambiguous is something that is not very clear. Okay, now remember when we were talking about the prefix ambi or amphi means both. Okay, so when we are talking about 2 things at a time, or we are talking about both, then we use the prefix ambi or amphi. Amphibians, animals which live on land as well as water. Amphitheater, a theater that can be open theater as well as a closed theater. Ambiguous on one hand. Ambidextrous, we have discussed this word as well, I remember very clearly. Ambidextrous is a person who is skilled with both the hands. So both the hands, that's why ambi. And finally, ambiguous, it means 2 options being considered. Okay, 2 things, confused between 2 things. Okay, that's why ambi, that means both. Okay, that is the meaning of ambiguous. Complaining. I don't think I have to tell you the meaning of complaining. Someone who is complaining about something is whining about something or something like that. Curious is just talking about something that interests someone. Critical, again, it is not the right answer. So what is the meaning of querulous? Querulous means complaining. The very first word itself is complaining, the meaning of querulous. In a rather petulant or whining manner. Okay, so someone who whines is a querulous person. So the right answer will be complaining. That is option 3. Okay, that is the right answer. So I hope this is clear. Querulous means someone who is always complaining and whining about things. Okay, let's move on to the next question quickly. Revere. What is the meaning of reverie or revere? Reverie means it is a noun, and revere or reverie is a state of being pleasantly lost in what? Lost in one's thought. Okay, so by now I'm sure all of you have guessed the meaning of the word. Reverie means someone who is lost in one's thought, and pleasantly lost. So basically we do this often in a class. We daydream. Okay, so the right answer will be daydream. Option 2, daydreaming. Yes. Let's go on to the next question. audacious, very common word, and people usually use it in the form of audacity. How come he has the audacity to talk to me like that? And another usage could be he was audacious in replying so harshly, or fighting with his boss for his increase in salary. All right, so that is audacious. Audacious means something that is very daring, someone who is very bold. Okay, so what is the meaning of audacious? It is an adjective and it means full of danger. Or risk. So the right answer will be yes, bold. Not frightening, not brilliant, not powerful, not anything else. It will be bold. Alright. So this brings us to just one more question left. If you have any doubts still here, I hope not, because I made a lot of effort and I don't think there was any doubt till here. Let's see, if you have any doubts still here, please post it on the comment section if you have any doubts, and I will probably read it or chat with you as we go along. Okay, let's go on to the last question of this evening. The last question is perilous. What is the meaning of the adjective? It is an adjective, perilous. Perilous means something again that is full of danger. Okay, so full of danger is it rigorous? What is the meaning of the word rigorous? Rigorous means something that is extremely rough. Okay, what is the meaning of resilient? It is again an adjective, and the meaning of resilient is someone who is able to, or something that is able to withstand or recover quickly from difficult conditions. Okay, withstand or recover from difficult conditions. And finally we have requisite. Requisite is also an adjective, and the meaning of the word requisite is made necessary by particular circumstances, okay, or regulations. And finally we have the word hazardous. Hazardous means it is also an adjective, so we are dealing with all adjectives over here. It means something that is dangerous. So the right answer will withstand pain. Yes, that is the meaning of resilient. Okay, hazardous is the right answer. Yes, Kamal, you are right. Elora, you are also right. Neeraj, right. Vijay, right. Yes, it will be hazardous. Perilous and hazardous are synonyms. So the right answer will be option 1, that is hazardous. Risk, yes. So that was all for today. We have discussed 25 questions, and I think all the answers, you guys are absolutely brilliant. You knew all the answers. So yes, that brings us to the end of today's session. I hope you enjoyed the session, because I did. And please make sure that you remember the words, as well as things that you need to remember are idioms and phrases. Idioms and phrases. Okay, please remember idioms and phrases, at least 50 idioms and 50 phrases. All right. If you want to learn more idioms or questions on what are often asked, or the words that are often asked, we will have another session. And from my side and from TalentSprint side, wish you a very good evening. Bye bye and good night. Alright, good night. Bye guys.